You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV Smash After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Smash After Show.
Hello, everybody. Let's get a little Billy Joel for a second.
Ready to go.
Bing is for doing, and we are here doing another episode of Smash, Season 2, Episode 4. I am Tamara Berg. I'm joined in studio by Kristin Carole.
Hey, everyone.
Kendra Kabasele. Hello. Sarah Mendoza.
Good evening.
Those are my smashing ladies. We also have John Comerford on the couch.
Oh, well, thank you, ladies, for letting me crash your smash.
Thank you. And we have Stephen Lemieux at the booth.
Hey, guys, how's it going?
So here we are. Things are starting to ramp up on Smash tonight. The episode is called The Song. And we, at the request of one of our Twitter followers, who's a good friend of our shows, we are going to make sure that we talk about the songs at the end of the show. We did that last season, and we kind of fell out of doing it this season, but we're back on track, and we're going to be doing it this season. And appropriately, because it is called The Song, we will definitely get to them. So let's start off with talking about the fabulous, the amazing, the incredibly talented and beautiful Jennifer Hudson playing Ronnie.
She's amazing. You just start with her, and it's a powerhouse, and you end with her, and it's a powerhouse. And it just leaves a complete impression on you for both takes. Everything. This was just about her, this show, mostly.
Yeah, I really liked how, and I want to know what you guys think about it as well, but I liked how, you know, we got to see more than just her, you know, amazing singing ability, that there were some questions about who she was and where'd she come from, and her mother showed up. What did you guys think about the mom showing up?
I thought it was funny when they were like, oh, she has a momager?
A momager.
Is she a little too old to have a momager? And you were saying, what was the show that she was on before?
Moesha, but that, I mean, she's done a ton of
she's
things
done
after that. Cheryl Lee Ralph,
Yeah, she's a very familiar face.
Yeah, it kind of worked though, I think, a little bit, because you know Jennifer Hudson's character Veronica, kind of appeared on the scene as just, you know, this kind of question mark, right?
Right,
So
exactly. We didn't know.
Yeah, I think it just adds to her character.
It really reminded me of Ivy and her mom's relationship.
Yes.
Really pushing, you know, their daughters to be successful in the business.
But with a different twist, because Ivy's mom was super, super successful in theater. And here we have Ronnie's mom coming up and saying, if my mother loved me as much as I loved you, making it all about her, right? Did you love that, John?
That was my favorite part because she said, I wouldn't have stopped singing just church.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
She's living her dreams vicariously through Ronnie.
Exactly, which is so typical of a lot of the backstage parents, you know.
My kids are going to be on Broadway one day when I have kids.
Okay.
Watch out, Broadway.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Do you mean the actual street, or are they going to be in a show?
Hey.
Sorry. I'm going to get kicked out.
But so in talking to her mother, Ronnie was saying, you know, I don't know what I want. So we were learning that she was a teen sensation, or at least, you know, had been singing for a very long time, probably a young adult singer, and then find out that she's cast herself in this mold of, you know, Broadway show tunes, and this is the only thing that she does. And so she's being challenged very much by Derek. And I you know, the scene where she was failing at being sexy, I thought was really interesting. John, we've talked to people about this before, because you do acting coaching with people, right?
Yes.
And so, and isn't that a challenge that you find?
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, if you're not how do we talk about this safely?
No names.
No, it's just that.
No, of course not. But
So for somebody who isn't in touch with their sensuality, regardless of what that sensuality is, or with that, whether they're male, female, doesn't matter.
No.
They have such a hard time connecting to it that it looks so awkward and uncomfortable that the whole room just can't stand
well, I
watching
mean,
it.
actually, I'll speak to it. I played a stripper in a musical. When
Yes, you did.
He didn't know about it.
No,
That's how they met.
Ken and I was in it. How do you think we met? No.
And it was, I mean, it was a musical, so it was not.
Very PG.
I did do a strip, but I stripped down to brown panties. Anyway, it was one of I remember one of the comments I got from the choreographer was she goes, I love how you look dead in your eyes because that's what so many of the strippers are like. They're just dead. And me, I was just trying to remember things, you know? But so the discomfort and the awkwardness comes out in different ways.
Yeah, and then, well, she's obviously led a life of trying to portray this image to do something so quickly in another way. But she did have that one line that says that she wasn't such a good girl.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So we haven't seen what that is yet, but.
But she said she hasn't dated recently either, so that whole intimacy thing could be very obviously new to her. And then on top of it, we did see last week where she was talking to Derek about branching out, and that's why she turned down the Wiz and all of that. So she wants to do it. She's just frightened. So even though it wasn't something, I feel like her mom was putting it all on Derek and didn't know that Veronica had actually said, hey, by the way, I actually want to do this. And then she's afraid to tell Mommy Dearest there that
doesn't want that rap.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's why she couldn't move the way she wanted to.
Right, because Mom was watching.
Yeah, that would be uncomfortable.
Even if she wasn't in the room. Yeah.
Hi, I'm going to do a sex scene in front of my mother, right? Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a sex scene, but it was a sexy.
But there was butt slapping. And
There was a lot of butt slapping.
Right. It was very Fosse looking in the choreography.
Steven likes that.
There was butt slapping?
That was a lot of butt slapping. You didn't?
Rhythmic.
Megan Hilty's butt got slapped. Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
It was rhythmic butt slap.
Because I was thinking about that
It's
too.
a powerful
because
hand.
to me, it seems so uncharacteristic that she would be uncomfortable with that kind of performance because everything we've seen of her.
Of Jennifer Hudson?
Yeah, is such a like a diva, powerful performance that she's giving. You wouldn't think that she would be shy to, or I wouldn't have thought that she would be shy to do, a more sexy performance.
Right.
Because to me, being a diva is like embracing that side of you. So it's what I would have expected of her as a performer.
Veronica?
So, Ronnie.
Oh, okay.
So it was a little bit, Ronnie, the character.
Got it.
So when she was a little shy, I was thinking, like, where did that come from? She's felt so strong in every other performance that she's done.
Right.
I think it's the mom's presence. I'm going to put it on that. Because, she seems very feisty. She knows what she wants in all the other episodes. And all of a sudden, she's a lot more meek in this one. And it has to be because her mom's sitting there watching.
Yeah.
And it is a little bit further than
That's
she's
the one
taken
thing
it.
that's different.
That's
this
the one
episode,
big
right?
Well,
thing that's
I also
different.
think you're forgetting that she's trying a whole new approach. There's a whole new image that she wants to portray. I think there's trepidation. She's, we all fear the unknown. Is this going to work? Are they going to accept me? They love me for this. What if they hate me for that? So I think that's a lot of where it's coming from. I don't think it's just the mom.
And also, it doesn't help that Derek's pretty much belittling her like he always does.
That doesn't motivate. That doesn't work.
But then it was helpful that Ivy kind of jumped in and said, hey, just ignore him, basically.
Right, I liked that scene. Thank you for going to that, because that was what I want to talk about next, was they were dishing about Derek and trying to figure out, because Ronnie was talking about how she doesn't know what she wants, and which actually comes after the dish with Derek's scene. But I enjoyed that scene. Did that one speak to you kind of too?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of insightful about Derek as well.
Yes.
And, no one's really said anything. They've just kind of accepted the abuse.
Right.
So it was nice. Over the last season and this one.
Although
so
I
it was.
Oh, sorry.
No, it was just nice to see a specific conversation about it, and it was easy to do because this new character was there.
Right,
If
exactly.
they had done it with, Karen,
it would have seemed
we'd be
odd.
like, what? Why are you guys doing?
Right.
Yeah.
I liked, though, that he was being his usual critical self to her and didn't treat her any differently than if Ivy was on stage or Karen. And she's obviously this way bigger star. She's having her own concert. And he didn't care. He's like, you suck right now, fix it. And I personally kind of, as you know, I'm a big Derek fan, so I might be slightly biased, but I personally like that he wasn't treating her that differently, and she doesn't need to be humbled as we've seen in this episode especially, but I like that he didn't give her any really special treatment.
Well, and Ivy talked about that. You know, I hate him. I fight with him. He makes me crazy, basically, she said over and over again, until the minute I get on stage and what comes out of me is the best performance I've ever done, and it's because of how he directed me. And so, you know, we've talked about this before last season about how people have to go through their process however they go through it, and sometimes it involves, you know, psychoanalysis and pain. And I don't necessarily believe in that, but I'm, you know.
Right. And also Derek's career is kind of hanging by a thread.
Yes.
So he's going to do everything he can to direct her so that he gets the best show out of her that, you know, for that night.
Right, exactly. But I thought it was interesting that Ivy had said to him, you know, you'll go on to a different show. This is just one bit of work for you, whereas for her, it's her whole life. It's the setting the course for where she's going from here on out. So,
Right.
you know, you guys need to come together and figure out where you're going to go with that.
And I like that Derek's, you know, starting to listen a little bit more, even if it's after the fact.
It's after the threat from Ronnie's mother.
After the threat. He seemed at least receptive to what she had to say.
Right.
And obviously he was, because he went on to let her do her thing.
Yes. Yes.
That she wanted.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we love hearing what you guys think, so you should definitely go to iTunes and rate and comment, and tell a friend to also rate and comment. We do read them. I love reading everything that comments wrote, or tweet us, or YouTube, but definitely go to iTunes. That's kind of our main one, is to go on there.
It's the thing that helps us out too a
Yes.
lot, is when people rate and comment on iTunes, and you know, like you say, we read them, and so we do take your feedback and listen to what you're saying. But it really helps us out with continuing to do what we do when we do get the ratings and the comments. So
Yeah, and we're
thank you
fans
for
just
doing
like you
that.
guys, so we want to hear what you have to say as well.
Absolutely, we
It's
do.
always great to watch with a friend.
Yeah. So next, let's talk about Julia, and Peter the
Parasite.
parasite. That's what he is.
Peter the parasite.
Okay, so we start off with her, you know, just being incredibly resistant.
I'm
Yeah, what are
sorry.
you laughing at?
I'm laughing because she goes in there with all her.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know,
Well, you know what's funny?
thinking I'm going to go in there and teach them something.
It was pretty much
Impart some wisdom.
It was
Yeah,
pretty much the
exactly.
same thing that happened when they went to the fundraiser,
Yeah.
you know, and she walked in, and Tom and I are being lauded, and we're going to be, you know, and they basically get kicked out of the fundraiser. So again, she gets embarrassed and
but
shut
what,
down.
What a world she must live in. She's so delusional. Everywhere she goes, she thinks it's going to be this, and it's always, what? Wait, what? I'm not here to teach. I'm here to listen. What?
How demoralizing that must be, too.
Right.
You know?
Great.
At least they were expecting her this time. So
Right,
that's
right.
a step up.
Good point. But, you know, Peter, he does have some kind of combative techniques, I would say, that he
Really
uses with people.
Okay, but seriously, you've been in the room. I don't know one writer that doesn't have their stuff read
Of
with people. So I don't know what
course.
she was all upset about. Granted, they were young. I get that part. But what writer doesn't put it in front of people to find out if what I'm writing on the page is translating to the person reading it?
Of course. So there was.
So why is she so upset?
She was insecure about it, I think, right?
Well,
Yeah,
It
well,
wasn't-
you're right.
It wasn't
That's
ready.
Absolutely.
true.
And also,
Yeah.
she didn't expect to be critiqued that night. You know,
Yeah.
she expected to be the person
Right.
imparting wisdom.
No,
to
I agree with that. But if I had a show that I was writing that I knew was in trouble, I would be jumping at the chance to people to read it so I could get feedback.
You know why? Because all of the students were, you know, none of them were Tom. I think that's her problem.
Okay.
She needs her crutch.
Okay. You're right. You're right.
and I-
This drives me crazy.
I think this guy, Tamara, as you said, I think he came in there very combative from the start, and she's just going to protect every ounce of what she can, because this guy is trying to take over. He's a parasite. I don't like him. I don't care how hot he is. You know, that's
I
what's
do,
going
but
on
I
in her
don't.
head right now.
Yeah.
Well, and he clearly. It seems clear that he knows what he's talking about, and he's had a track record. Although, as we talk about his own particular play is not good. But just to kind of go back to what you were saying, when you do want people to read your piece, but you want the people to be people whose opinion you value, and I think that was a big part of the problem here for her.
No, I understand that, but these are people who they're obviously actors. So however is jumping off the page is it feedback
Yes.
for you to know, is what I'm writing translating to the person reading?
Exactly.
Regardless of whether or not I trust their opinion on something, I just need to know if the translation is clear.
Right. No,
So
you're right.
That part you need.
That's true.
It's invaluable.
That's true.
So.
No, it's off topic. If we were doing Justified, I would tell the next story. But I'm
Yeah, yeah.
I thought it was funny that he said he changed the names, and Mary and Marilyn are like seriously less than a stone's throw away from each
and
other.
to Jim DiMaggio.
Yeah, you should have called her Norma Jean. Called the character Norma Jean. Yeah, that was kind of silly. But so then Julia gets the book, the copy of Peter's play, and starts to read it and discovers that it's crap. And
The singing
basically,
bird.
you know, what I kept writing was over and over again in my notes, Julie and Peter have a conflict. Julie and Peter have a conflict. Julie and Peter have a conflict. She's pissed. He's pissed.
Throws a book at him.
Throws a book at him.
Yeah.
I actually like that though, as the intro. All of a sudden, he's there, and there's a book.
Yeah, and I thought of the Eileen drink splash.
Yes.
This is going to be the new thing. Maybe in every episode now, she's going to throw a book at him.
Exactly.
It's good if he's play every time. You think that's good? Read your play.
You had to wonder how many
great.
takes that pretty little face took, books in them. So Julia.
Don't you want to read that book, though? That play? Don't you want to know a little bit about
I want to
that?
know how bad.
I want to see the musical of that book.
About a bird
Yeah.
singing.
The
It's
bird
actually
singing.
about
There's
a bird
some woman
singing.
in a bird costume.
Singing.
Like the nightingale.
Okay, let's just get to the chase on this story and get to where she has her epiphany.
Yes.
Okay. So they're sitting there drinking wine because what we learned in this episode is drugs are good for the creative process.
Especially if you're a writer.
Drugs or alcohol
way to write.
That's
are the
right.
things that,
There you go.
get you through your process.
Yes. If you got writer's block, it's always, booze is always the thing.
Wrong.
It would be
I write
funny.
better when I'm stoned.
It'd be so funny if all of a sudden now we see their new version of this play, and maybe the wine didn't help.
Well, that's actually, I know people who've done that. This was, back quite a while back. Right, we're sitting at the computer and we're writing and it's brilliant. Every word we're writing is absolutely brilliant. Stoned out of their minds. Writing is brilliant. They wake up the next day and go, oh my God, this is the worst crap I have ever written. So, yeah,
Never
your
happened to you, though,
judgment
right?
is, no, not to me. Your judgment is off when you're consuming those things.
I just fall
wanna say.
asleep. I sniff the wine and I'm tired. So it wouldn't work for me. Thanks, Julia.
So she has this epiphany while they're sitting there drinking wine that the students had said, what did they say? They said, this is a show about a
very
strong
strong
woman.
But she doesn't seem strong.
So why did she not have the epiphany then? Just because she was too pissed and she needed
She
the
was
wine?
clouded by her.
Yeah.
Because it's the same conversation.
Yeah,
just had
exactly.
twice,
She
right?
She wasn't
okay.
present. Yeah.
Right. So do
She
you guys?
didn't have any wine. That's what it was.
She wasn't loose.
She
Yeah,
needed the wine.
She wasn't clear-headed enough, so she needed some wine.
Well, it does take your guard down.
They had pretty big glasses.
Those
too.
were huge glasses. Are you kidding? You and
Monster.
I, we would both be on the floor. It had that.
There'd be no afterbuzz if we were doing
Would be
New
smashed.
name.
But yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so the epiphany. Anyone chime in what your thoughts were about that?
No, well, to what you were just saying, Julia is so stubborn. Like, she's not going to admit it. So she needs the liquid courage or, like, looseness to be like, all right, I realize that this and that, this and that.
Right.
So I think that was a part of it, why she couldn't, she had the conversation but didn't quite admit it yet. And then later on, when she had the booze in her, then
So her
she was
defenses were down, and
Yeah.
and she could face it.
And she'll, she doesn't want to lose to him either and say that you're right, because this is the guy that she hates right now for
Right.
kind of like pulling the rug from underneath her all the time and just pretty much bashing all the hard work that she's done thus far on the show.
Yeah. Well, and I speaking again to your point, John, of your show's not working or your piece is not working. John's a writer, in case our audience doesn't know that. John's a writer, and so he knows a lot about this process. So your piece isn't working. Why was somebody like her going to defending it instead of trying to fix it?
I don't know. That's what I don't understand. I don't care where the feedback comes from. For me, anyway. If it's not working, I'm looking for anything.
Yeah, but we've
anyone,
both
doesn't
seen
matter.
it a million times.
Yeah, it
People
happens
just
all
go
the
through
time.
and defend.
Yeah. It's like, what are you defending? You already got the feedback that it's not working, so stop defending and move on to something else.
For me, I think, and Kendra, I would love your psychological take, because you're always doing the psychoanalysis on this. But, you know, I think it has everything to do with if you are rejecting my words, you're rejecting me, and I can't do it. So,
That's what I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
No,
do you have anything to add to it?
And on top of it, she kind of, we think she has a crush on this guy, right?
Right.
Clearly. So even
Yeah. Wait, Michael's gone, so she needs, you know.
Another
Yeah, so
psychological thing, though, is that she's sort of like lost everything. This show is what she's clinging on to because
Yes.
it's all she has left, really.
Yes.
With her husband, you know, her husband is now, well, they're no longer together.
Husband gone, boyfriend gone.
Yeah, and this
now
is
work
pretty
has
much her
to-
life, and she's created it, and she's going to hang on to it as hard as she can. Nobody's going to take that from her.
I agree with that, but I also think they could have played it a different way, and I think it would have been just as interesting because she's clinging on to it so hard. She would be so desperate to find an answer, and you could have played it her desperation, seeking answers everywhere, and not realizing the one in front of her. So I think they could have gone either way to show that. I just think that one way I think is too obvious, and that's the way they chose. I would love to see her be desperate and picking at different things and trying to get any answer.
I think that would be really interesting.
I
That would
think
be
so.
really interesting to watch.
But then you wouldn't have the love-hate relationship.
No, she can still love and hate that guy. Anything he came up with.
But she would also be scattered and be.
It's more frenetic. It's more active. It's more. This is kind of, and it's the same argument we've seen her do a million times.
Right.
I mean, she demonstrated that last season.
Exactly.
She's always kind of held on to her own.
Right.
No, this is right. You know?
Right.
So I think Tom may be able to extract some other type of reaction,
Yes.
but not any new guy. You know, her guards are up.
Right.
And I was
Right.
kind of watching him during those scenes. He didn't say much. He was just kind of like, oh.
Tom or Peter? Tom.
Peter. He just led her
Peter,
a little bit.
got it.
Led
Yeah.
her once she got it.
I was curious as to what was going through his
He knows how to
mind.
play her to get there.
Yeah, it was weird.
I
Then he
think.
propositioned her.
Well, and yeah, so he did. So let's go to my house in the Berkshires.
And that was right after she mentioned Tom.
It's a,
Oh.
but I think
don't
that's
sound
still
effects.
him trying to, you know,
Be
do
about
the
the work.
power play.
Oh.
Like he's gonna make her think I might be into you, and that's gonna make her maybe open up a little bit more to him and his ideas and be into what he has to say, and that works to his advantage. That's what I don't see any like sincere romantic.
So you don't
thing
trust this guy. You
for
think
him.
he's got ulterior motives
No,
like crazy.
I don't trust his pretty
Ooh.
eyes. No.
Well, that's called projection, Sarah.
Oh, speaking of the psychology, I do not trust his dimples.
I do not trust his smile.
And as he even said, he had seen all of Julia's work, so there has to be some sort of, even though he's fighting her with stuff or pushing her with changing things, he obviously has an admiration for her. I mean, everybody does for her and Tom. They've created such great musicals and shows together. So he obviously has seen all of them. And there has to be some sort of, if it's not that kind of attraction, he's definitely attracted to her
In a
in the
groupie
sense.
way?
In a what?
Groupie.
In a sort of, well, not groupie, that kind of groupie.
Kind of more of a creepy, groupy way, I think is what.
Well, just be
Sort of
like, if
a,
all of
a
us,
professional fan, a
Right.
fan of her work.
yeah, that we saw the interview, Kate, it was NBC, like right afterwards, where
Right.
Catherine McPhee was talking about sitting down with Steven Spielberg. I mean, you just
Yeah.
sit down and you have this admiration, and you're attracted to the fact that he's this big, director and producer, and he's done so much for the industry. And if you're in that industry, you have that sort of, again, I'm not saying like relationship attraction, that's not at all what I'm saying, but an admiration that draws you to them.
Right, an artistic connection
Yeah.
or professional connection.
I agree that he probably has that admiration, but I think the reason why he's doing that is because he knows that Julia is so on her, like, I don't need you, you need me type of deal. He's trying to like flip it around somehow so that she feels like she needs him to pick up, for her career to stay on this track
Right.
of
Well,
success.
and that's obviously an easier way for them to get the work done instead of them fighting all the time.
Right.
If she's open to the suggestion.
So do you think he's doing that just to feed his ego? He wants her to need him?
No, I think he knows that being successful with her as a partner is going to do some wonders for his career.
Sure, but I mean, if you remember the list they went through, he's had a lot of partners or whatever that are, so that's what I'm wondering, because the list, they were so impressed by the list of people he's worked with.
Right.
Is she that much bigger than that? We didn't see the list, so we don't know.
Weren't some of them lies or something?
I don't remember that.
No, they said that he was sort of uncredited, like
Yeah,
he
they're all
wasn't on the
ghostwritten.
marquee. He was a ghostwriter on all of them, but he had the list. So we actually don't know if it's true or not, but
So partnering with her would kind of up
increase
ante.
his right.
Yeah.
Unless the
increases
people he's already
credibility.
partnered with are bigger, because they even said, we know some of these people. We know half these people on this list, so
Right.
they're aware of them.
Right.
Maybe he doesn't write with them, but he inspires them, and that's why he tells her that
Inspires them
this
with
is getting a
wine.
whole different tone to it. But just
getaways.
in terms of, because he said he's a good teacher, even though he's not a good writer, and he's obviously getting Julia to think more. You know, she's pushing past the against her will. Besides having alcohol, but she did realize when they were fighting outside that she's like, "Oh my God, I really do that."
Well, I just think because Bombshell is so much in the press, like there's so much controversy that's surrounding it with Eileen and Jerry and Nick, and where did the money come from, and is it on, is it off Broadway, is it on again, is it off? You know, for someone to turn that around and really like take it to Broadway and make it amazing, the person that does that is gonna get like high
Yeah, but he's doing it
praises
uncredited.
in the industry.
He's the only people are going to know if somebody tells him he's doing it uncredited. He's not
Right.
going to get a credit for this.
Right.
He wants one though, maybe.
Maybe
Maybe he does. Maybe he does. I don't know. We'll see.
He's
Just
gonna Ellis it.
Okay, before we go on to our next topic, one of the things that I just want to mention about, I just want to talk about Debra Messing, because she's been this kind of a completely different character from what we ever saw from her on Will and Grace. And she was really fun on Will and Grace. And, you know, as we're talking about her being frantic, perhaps, and maybe seeing some comedic moments, I would kind of like to get a little of that from her in this show. And I don't know if it's possible. I don't know where, you know, they're planning to go. But this show obviously has light moments, and I think that they could put it in. But she seems like she's just this, you know,
Well, they
character
had-
of opposition. So
They
much
had
of the
that
time.
one moment Kristen was just mentioning
Right.
to on the street. They had that little banter.
God.
With, I don't do the band. I don't do the bender. Oh, I do the banter.
Right. That's well. That's what made me think of it. Yeah.
So they're
I'm
not using her talents as much.
Or I mean, maybe she's choosing to do something different from Will and Grace because she wants to get away from it. But I like that in her. I think she does it well. It's very entertaining. That moment that you talked about kind of sparked my, you know, my happy memories of her. Not that I have unhappy memories of her now.
Yes.
But
They were terrible.
But she
The scenes with
she was
Ellen.
delightful in
Yes.
Will and Grace,
Yeah.
and in this, you know, it's just. I'm not loving it so much, and that's part of
Right.
the reason because maybe it is they're not using her strengths.
But that may be a
Go ahead.
No, Kendra.
that may be a wish of some actors that you
Of
kind of
course.
discard what you know of
Yeah.
them before that, you know.
Like
so she
Jennifer
can-
Hudson's character, Veronica.
Yeah. Like,
But she
oh,
has a great talent for that. Is sort of what I'm saying, and
Right.
it doesn't. It's not like she has to become that character, but we could see some sparks of it, like we did tonight. What were you
Right,
gonna
and
say?
we can use some more of it. But where she is very delightful, I feel, is when in her interactions with Tom.
Yes.
That's actually one of my favorite parts of the show is their relationship.
Yes.
And I could use more of that. I could have used more of that in this episode, but obviously Tom was they were in different worlds tonight.
Yeah.
And they're both funnier when they're together because Tom was really serious this episode.
Yeah.
He still
Yeah.
had some good little, you know, back and forth with Derek at one point, but other than that, he was very serious. I mean, he was, granted, he had a big show to, you know, help produce.
He's busy.
But
He's busy, Kristen. He's still my favorite character in the show. He's still my favorite character in the show. But you know, we are seeing Sean Hayes come up.
Hayes.
Excuse me,
love
Sean
him.
Hayes coming up, possibly next episode. So maybe we'll get a little more of that Will and Grace vibe. Let's talk about Jimmy.
do we have to?
I know
Long-suffering Jimmy.
I know there are some people on the panel who are not big fans of Jimmy. Anybody want to talk about it?
I know. By people, we mean.
Just because I'm always like, jerky Jimmy. Oh,
No, Jimmy.
yeah. I like that he was the most fun when he was high. That's what I'm.
Once
I
again,
don't know, yeah.
I just
But-
want to say for the record, drugs are bad.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
actually kind of
go
hard
on.
to tell the difference with him.
Right, because he's sort of like the angry drunk guy when he's sober, and he's the like wacky stoned guy when he's not.
Yeah. Well, and what drug was he on? Because he never answered Karen's
He said
question.
he was rolling, and that means.
What does that mean, Sarah?
This is not from my experience, I swear. Okay,
Urban Dictionary.
It's from ecstasy.
Oh, that might be why he
the love drug,
sober.
and that's why he said when he
agrees.
kissed her or whatever, he felt whatever that they feel.
I saw you Google it. It's fine. No.
What does rolling
I'll step in for you. Yeah.
I was just thinking the Adele song. No.
Yeah. Rolling in the deep.
Rolling in the deep. That's it.
What else do you know, Sarah?
Another show. That's another show.
I agreed with him when they wouldn't hear his song. I could see being angry at that. However, you don't go up to Derek, and
huge
yell
major
at him
director star.
And I loved his comeback, though. What did he say?
I think I deserve
no one
it.
deserves anything in this business.
Amen.
And
it's
that
so
is
true.
so true. Yeah, exactly.
That is showbiz.
It really is, and you have to take what you can when you can, and they got lucky later on that they all believed in him and the singing and his songwriting skills and everything, and that Veronica wanted to do it. But if they didn't, he needs to sit down and shut up.
But you know,
especially for Kyle's sake.
But I do admire that he took a shot. What does he got? What's he got to lose?
True.
I don't think he did it in the right way. He's still jerked the way he did it.
Yeah.
And he can't avoid that because that's his character. But you know, I got a shot here. Might as well take it. Please listen to my. You know, how he did it was horrible.
They've had a whole lot of chances, though.
Yeah.
Like more than
exactly.
in real life.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, what? Who
like
gets these?
When
they're
Derek
really
went
lucky.
to their apartment.
Yeah, exactly.
And he, you know,
Karen's
acting
really
like
trying to help him out.
Yeah. I think it would have been.
Hey, we need a song. Oh, look who's here.
Yeah. I'm gonna just keep drinking my beer on the couch.
Let's pull out the implausible card.
I think it would have been a better aggressive move, and I think I said that's where we were watching, if they would have taken the song and just either started singing it, or B, bring it to Veronica, because apparently they're all she's
That's
buddies
what I
with
thought
everybody.
they were going to do.
That's a much ballsier move.
Right.
I would have liked to have seen them start the song to her and then cut to finish her and her finishing it on stage live.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Then that would have been a nice.
Why did you not write this
I'm
episode,
sorry.
See,
John?
then that would have wrecked the reveal in the end of the song.
Yeah,
So
well.
And then
it's a great way to do it.
But you knew it was gonna. I mean, did anybody not know that song was gonna show
I
up?
had no idea.
But then, we would be talking about, wait, how did it go from, what was the conversation?
Right. I have to say, I loved Jimmy's voice and his style when he was playing and when he was singing. He was in Newsies.
Yes.
On Broadway, and they were saying in the piece after, if viewers didn't see it, that he was actually in Newsies while he was shooting Smash, which is probably true for a lot of the actors on the show because they are Broadway actors.
Yeah, I think Leslie Odom Jr. was doing a show.
Our good friend, Leslie Odom Jr.
You know, our friend.
Our good friend.
What?
Who follows me on Twitter.
He'll be, and he'll be on our show
Yes,
this
he
season.
will.
Yeah, that's great.
I love that he's in the opening credits. Like there's video of him in the opening
Because
credits.
he's
I'm
on
very
tour,
proud.
right? His character's on tour.
Yeah,
Yes.
with
Oh, that's right.
with Book of Mormon, I think they said, didn't they?
Yes, yes, that's what it was.
I believe
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes,
I just
it was.
remember like saying "yay" in my head when he said it.
So, but,
Not allowed. It was in your head.
It was all inside.
I know, because we were like, I don't remember
She
you.
has a rich internal world.
yes.
I want to say something about Jimmy, though.
Yes, please do.
Jimmy is a jerk, but you know what? I believe in Jimmy, and you know what makes me believe in Jimmy
he's
is
talented.
Kyle.
Oh.
Because Kyle believes so much in Jimmy, it really makes me curious as to what this kid went through to have such a hard exterior. Like what? I mean, we know who was that guy anyways that beat him up at the apartment? Like
Ex-roommate?
I want to know.
We never learned all about that.
I
But we'll learn
can't
more
tell
about his
yet if
backstory.
he's, if he has a thing for Kyle, because they seem to have these really intimate moments, and I know Kyle has a thing for him.
Yes.
But
What? Wait. What?
yes.
Even today, you could
Yeah.
tell. Are you
Well, it was
joking?
probably
Actually, I wasn't paying attention to it, but I believe you. I don't have any trouble believing
Like
it. But
today when Jimmy
Probably.
apologized to Kyle in the wings and he finally shows up again, the way that he says it is so tender, and
Sorry.
Kendra,
I'm listening.
speak.
I'm listening.
what? What? No, I've thought it was sincerely very tender, and I don't know on what level if it's like brotherhood or if it's more than that, because we for sure know that Kyle has a crush on him.
Right.
So, like, could it be returned? I don't know. And
Jimmy has the hots for Karen because during that song, at one point, I even marked it down where it was, I want to love you. Jimmy looked, and then all of a sudden the camera cut to Karen.
Right, but I mean, it's not impossible for him to have feelings for both. You know what I'm saying?
That would be an interesting angle.
But he doesn't act like it.
Who are you talking about? Jimmy doesn't act like
he feels for Kyle in a romantic way.
I agree with that.
Yeah, not overtly. I don't think so either. It's just in those tender moments where I start to question it. I don't know.
Why do you keep laughing?
Well, it could be one of those relationships where Jimmy knows Kyle has feelings for him,
right?
But it's unspoken, and they're not going to talk about it. So I mean, in those tender moments that you're talking about, he knows the buttons he needs to push. I mean, if they're in that kind of a relationship and they've been friends for however that long, you know what you have to say and how you have to say it in order to get the response you need.
What did you just say, Kendra? I couldn't hear you.
It's just the adjective. It just sounded funny.
Tender.
Oh, tender. Oh, okay.
Like
tender.
tenderoni. It just makes me
I think there's going to be the heartbreak of unrequited love happening later in the season.
Yeah, because Kyle walks in on them working on the song, and he looks like a sad, like Charlie Brown.
But he just kicked him out. He needed space, and then...
Right, that was the thing. I
needed space from me, but not her.
Yeah.
Well, and I actually also took that as... Hang on a second. Who's going to get the writing credit, the co-writing credit on this? Because she was giving him advice on how the tune should go, and I like this.
But I want to know what I don't get what Kyle does anyway. What is it? What credit does he get? I mean, he's that's nice. Oh yeah, that was good too. I mean,
let me take that down.
Does he do it? I'm not exactly. That's why last week I was saying give him something to do.
I asked that last week too.
Keeps everything organized. I mean, you almost need to when you have a Jimmy who's all over the place writing drunk on menus, and
who's rolling all the time.
He's like the unofficial manager to Jimmy.
Yeah, he keeps everything together, and who knows how much he's writing with him too much, because he's standing there writing down the lyrics, and obviously he's also writing down the notes. So maybe he sings and he's a scribe. You know?
Right. Well, they call each other partners.
Yeah.
Which again could mean more than one thing, but
Kyle means
they were
it in a different
introduced
way.
on Bravo as partners too.
Right.
And they walked out there together.
Yeah.
Right. And then they kissed, and then that didn't happen.
That happened in her head.
Did not happen.
No, it's just something I question. I don't know that it'll go there, but it's a question I have.
Hashtag tender.
And I wouldn't be mad if it happened.
Hashtag man tenderness.
Wait a minute. But if they do kiss, it will be tender.
It will be tender.
She'll be
Thank you,
extra
Steven.
tender.
We are kind of starting to go long, so I want to move on to our next topic, which is Eileen. So Nick came back.
Hanging out in her apartment.
Right. Let's talk about it after we go to bed.
He's like, okay.
Yeah.
There was no fight in that. I loved it.
And then
It was so real.
right.
That was
So
a tender
typical
moment.
Man.
It was so
So
He was tender.
Really tender.
Yeah. That was it.
I don't think he was tender.
Oh,
my
I went there. Sorry.
Okay. The long and short of it, so to speak, is that
No pun intended.
Eileen hears from Jerry. We find out that Jerry is pulling strings. He ultimately, so Eileen announces to the group that that Smash is going to Broadway.
Yep.
The restrictions have been
Without her.
lifted.
Bombshell.
But what did I just say?
Smash.
Oh, Smash, thank you. Bombshell's going to Broadway, but the caveat is she will not be connected to the show, which is devastating to all of them, because who is going to be connected is Jerry. Her, what did she say, the most despicable person on earth or something like that is what she called him. Thank
Despicable
you,
me.
Stephen. Yeah, so Jerry's replacing her. And we see, I had news, I was going to spring it on everybody tonight, but obviously NBC trumped me on it. Smash exclusive, Ellis poised to return to Smash.
Wait.
Apparently, Ellis back from Cleveland. We're not going into the news, but this is since it got spoiled by the show. Smash's serial lurker is back.
That's a perfect word for him. I think we use it.
I don't know if it's Jamie or Jaime Sapero will reprise his role of Ellis, the ruthless and scheming former assistant, during the show's upcoming second season, but wait, the plot thickens. Ellis may return, but not necessarily in the present, is what they say.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Flashbacks.
Yeah, maybe, or maybe they shot. You think?
Or maybe just that he didn't return except in the conversation that we saw tonight. That may be the beginning and end, please God, please, of Ellis's return to the show.
Well,
Or
Jerry
voice
said
recording.
that he didn't want to hear from him ever again. He's like, thank you for this.
Don't you?
But I don't want to hear from you.
But that is like candy to Ellis.
Yeah.
Right.
He's
Tell
gonna be
me to
behind the
go
door.
away.
Yeah, he's gonna be
And then
behind his
he'd
door.
be like
waiting for
naked
him.
again, trying to.
That's like holding ecstasy up in front of Jimmy.
That's exactly what it's like.
And a tender moment for Kyle.
Yeah, he popped out from under the desk like, you didn't want me here?
So you all know, and any of our viewers and listeners know that from early on last season, sorry, it's making me choke talking about Ellis. I wanted him to go to Cleveland, and I got it finally, and I just hate that he's back. Somebody else needs
It's
to
like
talk
a
for
horror
second.
movie.
I was really surprised by that moment. I mean, I didn't read about him returning in any sort of way. I was surprised too that Jerry was going to end up taking the show. I mean, I saw it building through that episode, but if you would have told me that at the beginning of the episode, I wouldn't have believed it. I did like what Eileen said about Jerry. It's like, well, he is a good producer, so the business person in her could push that personal, aspect aside, and was like, at least you're going to have somebody who, one, loves the show, which is huge, and two, who's well known in the business and can take it to Broadway, which she couldn't. Granted, it was because of a lovely friend from Cleveland, or going to Cleveland, but
it doesn't sound like Jerry's going to put the personal aside, because all he cares about is that she'll
ruining her.
She'll learn that she can't do without me.
But he's still going to make it great, though.
Oh, yeah.
Because of that.
But so, and this is a bit of a prediction, but do we think that he's doing it to ruin her or to get her back?
That's what I was gonna say.
Well, the way he said it sounds like he wants to get her back, that she can't do it without me. So.
I don't think that he likes that he lost something.
Yeah.
So he's going to get it back, whether or not he actually wants it or it's good for either one of them. That was taken away from him. She left him, and I'm sure he's a man that does not get no very often.
Right. But it does give hope to the idea that Bombshell, the musical, could potentially be a success. And so that's, potentially good news. I don't know what's going to happen to Eileen.
When are we going to go see it?
Yes, when are we going to go see it? We need to talk about the songs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the first song, I Got Love, in the two versions. So we had the belting Broadway diva version opening the show, and then the close, which was I've Got Love in the sexy Fosse version. Thoughts, people?
I like the first one better, although it did remind me a lot of, have you guys, in the Sex and the City movie, she sings All Dressed in Love, and it reminded me a lot of that, but I think that suits her voice better. The Fosse one was fun in a different way. I didn't like her dress in that, but that's a whole different topic, but I like the song first.
I liked the first version as well. I'm sure part of the reason is because it was the first one I heard, so that made an impression on me. But it just appealed to me more. It was more interesting because it was faster. And the slower one, the way Derek was making fun of how many times she said the word love in the beginning, I focused on it more in the second version of it because it was so slow, and I kept going love, 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 love.
Yeah.
I agree. I thought the first version was better. But what I appreciated about the second version is I so want to hear Jennifer sing a different style, because she can belt out anything, anytime.
Yes.
And is fabulous at it. But I want the variety to hear her in a different manner, a different way, because that part I appreciate. I'm just so thankful that I say, please don't belt every, because then every song is the same. She just belt, here comes the big finish. And so I just appreciated that they did something else with it.
Well, and then let's just go to the last song that she did, which was Kyle's song, I Can't Let Go.
Yeah.
Thoughts, anyone? That was an original Mark Shaman and his writing partner, whose name I can't remember, original piece written for the show. Thoughts, anyone?
I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
I thought it was very character driven.
Yeah, go ahead. No, it's another song that's very Jennifer Hudson.
Yes.
Where she can belt and hit those high notes and really go for it.
But in terms of the character, it was great for Jimmy, but it was also great for Veronica's character because it was not a prissy princess song. It had some depth to it. It had some heartbreak in it.
Yes.
And it had a lot of subtext. So I thought it was very well for the actual character.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked hers, but I think I liked hearing Jimmy sing earlier on.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about.
Right. And I'm looking forward to getting more of him singing. And then we had Everybody Loves You Now, Billy Joel song, great song, energetic, fun, sung by Kyle, and then Ronnie.
Finally heard Kyle sing.
Finally heard Kyle sing, and he was really good.
Yeah,
Right?
I like how they played that one off too, because he put it in his iPod, and I think most of us are saying to our iPod every so often. And I like how they played that off, where he's still able to sing, but it was kind of a realistic setting that way. And she could be singing in her dressing room, but I thought that was an interesting take on it.
I mean, of course, she's a really great singer, but I could, in my hearing her sing it didn't feel like Jennifer's style to me. It kind
didn't
of
work
felt
for me
out
at
of
all.
place.
It
Yeah.
didn't work for me at all.
For her voice.
Her part of it.
For her voice, yeah.
So, yeah.
Not bad, but not her.
No, it's not that she. Of course, she can sing. It just
Yeah.
didn't feel organic. It didn't work.
I think this show is at its best when they are doing the musical numbers, but I think that they're having a hard time getting to them every time.
Yeah.
Because they're, even that song wasn't the whole song.
No.
And they have such great devices they can do. The way they did the one song in the pilot, when the two girls came together, they were, singing it basically as a duet, and then came together up the steps toward the audition, never having met before.
Yeah.
Those devices that you can do because we're on television are such strengths, but I would love to have them do more of them, but I'm sure it's hard.
I think it was on purpose, again, just because they're trying to represent these two kids who are still kind of green. And even Derek, I think, told them, you're not ready yet.
Right.
So it was almost like it couldn't have been a polished, excellent, performance and sound, etc. So I think that, I just think that's why it was that way.
I'm just saying I'd like to see more of them.
Yeah.
I'd like
I'm
to see
just
more
saying.
musical numbers, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been noticing that too. That they're not really full-blown performances now, like it was last season. They're just kind of little snippets of songs.
Yes.
That transition to a next scene or whatever.
Yes. Although we're obviously going to get more of those because we've got the musical that Kyle and
Musicals. We have different
have
musicals
written.
now.
Exactly. We have competing musicals, and we're going to have a lot of that
Liaisons,
coming
yeah.
up. We are running over, so let's get some news out really quick.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Kendra, do you want to talk about yours?
Oh, it was just kind of chatter about the Oscars and Jennifer Hudson belting out
Oh yeah.
her song.
Jeez, it was amazing.
Oh, okay.
No, it was amazing. It was like everybody in the audience
Yeah.
got that, man.
I even saw that Oprah had tweeted that, yes, you took it there. I can't remember exactly what she said, but she was giving her.
I was thinking, damn, I'd hate to be Adele.
And she,
back to follow.
she definitely sang it live too, and there was like some controversy of other songs during the Oscars that were pre-recorded.
What?
But, but with her, you can tell that she was, doing what
Oh,
she does
yeah.
best live.
Yeah, that's
Singing.
interesting because it wasn't live on Smash. You can tell.
Yeah,
No,
you
right,
could
yeah.
tell, definitely.
Yeah, you can for sure. The bad news is the Smash ratings are going lower and lower. In the third episode, the ratings dropped 25% to 3.3 million viewers and a 0.9 rating. And then there was a story in the LA Times about NBC
Right.
itself saying that, they had such a great beginning or best year last year with the Olympics, The Voice doing really well, NFL coming to NBC, and it's just really fallen.
They're in the tank.
February sweeps, NBC came in 5th.
Yeah.
Behind CBS, Fox, ABC, and Univision.
Ouch.
Oh, wow.
So that's a hard fall. Entertainment chief Bob Greenblatt, a former producer and Showtime boss, who was lauded for turning around NBC, and was the advocate for Smash, has just really realized that they're tanking. Basically. And even TV veterans are amazed at how low the ratings are for Smash. So you and I had talked privately. Do you want to talk privately about what publicly about what you talked about privately?
Yeah. That's what I think it is.
I'm relatively certain Smash will not get renewed for a third season.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
I think that's our prediction.
Nice.
Yeah, that is our prediction. And I'm sad about it. But they've obviously got a lot of problems going on there, so we're going to have to hang on and see.
Can I ask what you guys think are some of the problems? What do you guys think is failing the show?
I think it's hard to go with such a huge break. It loses its audience, and I don't think. I actually don't know what's before Smash either, and it is pretty. Like we even say for out here to come here at 10 and watch.
Yeah, it's tough.
We love the show. We love doing it with each other, or doing the podcast with each other. And I think it's really hard to. Sometimes late shows you need something good to lead in. Yeah, exactly. And reason to watch and to even remember what was on. I mean, I think I said the comment last week. I didn't even know when it was coming back. We kept emailing each other back, like, I think it's going to be January. Well, no, now it's February. And I think that confuses a lot of viewers.
One of the things that was a criticism of mine last season, and it continues through this season, is that they're doing caricatures of people. You know, it's one-dimensional. Things are very surface, and it makes us not as connected to the characters and not as willing to commit.
They're trying. They're not walking the line well enough. Let's face it. When Jimmy actually kissed Karen, what was your reaction?
I didn't feel anything.
We giggled.
We
laughed. Is it because it wasn't real enough?
Right.
No.
I mean, Karen giggled even.
Yeah, but for me, it drops into melodrama too much, and I think that. The reason why musicals work on stage is because it's a form, it's a genre that we understand, and it works there. And I don't know if it translates to TV, because in TV we're so used to now that dramas being dramatic, and they're having a hard time walking the line.
Yeah.
And I think what happens is they drop into melodrama too much.
Well, and I think that's because they've got Broadway writers writing television, and they are different animals.
It's a different beast.
And that's probably how they lost a lot of viewers after the first season, is because there was so much melodrama in the first season, and then there was such a gap between season 1 and season 2. They were like, forget it.
Because I think they could go, if they went camp or went more melodrama, then you could take, like, let's face it, Glee, you don't really take that
seriously at all.
And they're having fun with themselves. They're not taking it seriously at all.
Right.
They have serious issues, and they do those things. But for the most part, it's a wink and a nod to everybody that we're just having a good time here.
Yeah.
If they went that route, you could go that way. But I think they're having a hard time bridging
figuring
them.
out
I like that they're not going the Glee route just because of that. But then they need to step more into, we're going to make this a drama.
Yeah, they just need to go one way or the other. It needs either steep it in reality and have the internal emotional stuff be the songs, or wink and a nod and let's just have fun.
Yep.
Right.
But right now, I think they're trying to do too much.
We have more news. We'll talk about it next week, because it will wait that long. We are so over time.
Oh, sorry.
We have to go. So quick
Cliffhanger.
predictions. Anybody? Quick predictions.
Oh my God.
The rating thing.
You're after
The
Well,
ratings.
and I think Peter the Parasite's going to be even more parasitic.
Okay.
Prediction, I'm just looking forward to seeing Sean Hayes, and especially because they showed his character is going to be super funny, and maybe ruin Ivy's show. I predict Ivy's going to go a little bit back into her own self because she's going to be frustrated.
Okay.
Not get the respect she deserves.
I predict tenderness all around.
I'm going to throw out a prediction that Sean Hayes, Tom becomes smitten with him.
Oh.
And it could jeopardize his relationship with our friend
Snap.
And they
Sam.
share
Sam.
a tender kiss.
Hey, you silly girls. Kristin, tell us where we can find you.
You can find me, Kristin Carole 13 on Twitter, or on my website, thefantasy.com.
And what other shows are you doing here at
I'm
AFTERBUZZ?
also doing Walking Dead, which I love. It's every Sunday, so definitely check that one out.
Kendra.
I'm at Kendra Kabasele, Kendra Kabasele.
We're going to call you Tendra from now on.
Get it?
Are you doing any other AFTERBUZZ shows right now? this
Just
season?
waiting for Newsroom.
Newsroom, okay.
Yeah.
Sarah?
You can find me on Twitter at Sarah with an H Mendoza, and I'm doing Glee. It's back on March 7th, and that's on Thursday. So I'm in with all the melodrama.
Okay. John, we can't find you anywhere.
You can find me on AfterBuzzTV.com.
Oh, yes.
The trailer for Serial Buddies. The trailer's out now.
Yes,
you can find me in theaters March 8th from Adventures of Serial Buddies. It goes and hits the screen. And so look at those.
You can find me at Tamara Berg on Twitter. Also, my website is tamaracentral.com. John and I do Justified together on Tuesday nights as well, so you can find us there. And Steven, where can we find you?
You guys can find me in the trying to change camera angles, the booth all the time. And you can also find me in the booth on the Walking Dead podcast, because I love that show so much.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget, rate and comment when you can, and we will see you next week for Smash.
Yeah.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.